So we need to talk about the absolute plowing that happened down in Dallas involving the NFL's officiating team led by Brad Allen and the Detroit Lions, because by now you guys have seen all the breakdowns, all the video reviews, all the talking heads giving their opinion. I, of course, am going to share mine. We're not going to get too far into everything you've already seen. If you're new, we'll talk about it briefly, but you guys, if I'd have known what was going to happen, I would have bought stock in KY jelly, because that was absolutely disrespectful. If you guys aren't aware, we absolutely got robbed again by the officiating crews again in Dallas. Guys, I'm Hat and Beard. I'm here to say the quiet part out loud. This is the Hat and Beard Show. We got a lot to say, so let's get into it.
We're going to get up, and on the way up, we're going to bite a kneecap off. Doesn't matter if you have one ass cheek and three toes. I will beat your ass.
Hey guys, welcome back. If you're new here, I'm Hat and Beard. This is the Hat and Beard Show. I'm here to say the quiet part out loud. Briefly on a side note, you guys, I know I haven't uploaded in a couple weeks, but that's because of the holidays, and I felt like taking it off. In that amount of time, though, we did lock up the NFC crown, so I made ourselves a little NFC North crowns, where Kings of the North can't finish any worse than the 3 seed in the NFC playoffs. So there's a little NFC North crown there that we got back for, well, actually never had an NFC North title, so we stole it from the Vikings, from them in their own house. It was nice to lock that up. It was good to see Ife Melifonwu really emerge again, making just a sterling play at the end of the game to solidify the win for us, intercepting Nick Mullins on what could have been a Vikings game-winning drive. So B-Rad will be sporting that on top of his spread for the remainder of this year, or until we are no longer the NFC North champ. So that is a bit of a good note that we had right before Christmas, you guys, but then we absolutely got screwed. So let's talk about the controversy. Obviously, the game could have gone a couple of different ways for us. There's a few small things that could have happened. You know, if Jared Goff could throw an outside pass, he wouldn't have turned the ball over so many times. If Dan Campbell would have kicked the extra point instead of trying to go for 3 different times, or 3 times on the same play, that could have happened. If the Dallas offensive line would have been called for holding on the CeeDee Lamb 92-yard touchdown where Jack Campbell was held 2 different times.
Now 3rd down and
13 blitz coming. Prescott able to get out of the end
zone, and now airs it out for Lamb.
Obviously, that would have gone differently. We would have had a lead all those times. But you know what, guys? Guess what? If my grandma had been born with wheels, she'd have been a wagon. Doesn't matter. It's not going to change anything. What we do need to talk about, though, is the absolute controversy that is the illegal touching or an eligible man downfield or whatever variant you want to stick on. I think they called illegal touching by a player not reporting in. And that is the Taylor Decker 2-point conversion catch that was made at the end of the game that made Lions fans everywhere hearts just explode into a million pieces, because it was pure elation that, of course, in Dallas, the refs are going to screw us yet again, just like they did in 2016 when Brandon Pettigrew was blatantly interfered with, and then they picked up the flag and waved it off on us, which, of course, was going to happen because that's how things happen in Detroit. If you guys aren't really used to how things go, and I don't mean this condescendingly, but if you're a bandwagon jumper, if you're new to the Lions hype train, this is how things go, man. We get screwed consistently by the league. There are a lot of bad plays that have never gone our way. I mean, the Calvin Johnson touchdown catch that ultimately turned into us having a 0-16 season that got overturned in Chicago opening week. You know, the pass interference play that I just mentioned in 2016, and then yet again here in Week 17 of the 2023 NFL season. Detroit gets hosed again. I'm going to be real. I'm a Lions fan, so I know how this is going to sound, but that was a terrible call by an awful officiating crew who, although the league is clearly blaming the players and doubling down, they're at least punishing the officiating crew. Brad Allen's officiating team will be barred from officiating in the NFL playoffs, which is good for them. There are some steps that the league needs to make. I think, in my opinion, the refs need to be paid as full-time employees. This isn't their full-time job, which is why these calls, sometimes they don't care because they're not being paid adequately enough. They have to have another job outside of this to provide for their families. But in this situation, this is such an egregious call because when you watch the footage, again, you've seen it already. Taylor Decker, Penei Sewell clearly walk over to the official. Taylor Decker rubs his midsection, indicating that he is an eligible player. He also vocalizes to the official that he's reporting as an eligible player. The referee acknowledges that he's reporting as an eligible player. There's also other footage from another angle where you see Jared Goff grabbing Taylor Decker, pointing to him to go over to the official, the white hat. There's only one guy you can report to, and report to him as an eligible receiver, which he does. Now, I have seen the argument made where people have said that Dan Campbell tried to outsmart the Dallas Cowboys and in turn so outwitted the officiating crew by, at the same time, Dan Skipper was coming onto the field, and Dan Skipper has traditionally been the swing tackle or extra tackle who will come in and report as an eligible tight end to really run with a heavy set because we don't have a fullback anymore when we waive Jason Kabinda. So Dan Skipper will come in and typically play that role, and he had been reporting as eligible the majority of the game. That being said, your job in this game is to pay attention to what the players are saying to you. When you watch the video, when you watch the Zapruder film, you can see where Dan Skipper is 6 yards away from the official when Taylor Decker indicates by rubbing his midsection while talking to the white hat, the official, that he is reporting as eligible. Okay? The official then runs over to the defense and tells the defense and announces that Dan Skipper, number 70, is reporting as eligible. Okay? Now, there is an argument to be said that somebody should have said something at some point, but that's not the player's responsibility, and I'm really disgusted. I really enjoy what Rex Ryan had to say. I will maybe clip that here.
The players did exactly what they were supposed to do. Every one of them, right from Jared Goff going over and telling Decker, go report. He went right over there and reported with that nod of the official. I think the official assumed 70 was because he was reporting all day. That's a plan, by the way. That he assumed that the official would have got it right. Why? Because he went over it specifically with them before the game. That's what you do. The officials come in, you go over every trick play scenario and all that stuff with the officials before the game.
I really enjoyed how Rex Ryan backed the players because the league needs not to blame the players. This is not their responsibility, and there are numerous reasons why. Number one, there is video evidence of not only Jared Goff telling Taylor Decker to go report him, but Taylor Decker reporting in, okay? If you watch the full take of the film, Dan Skipper runs over to the area that Taylor Decker and Penei Sewell are at. The ref has already left that huddle. Now, you have to watch to the end because Dan Skipper runs over to the huddle with the rest of the offensive players, okay? Dan Skipper then reaches into his mouth, and you see him take his mouth guard, takes his mouthpiece out to communicate to the offensive line, to communicate anything, or to just reset it in his mouth. So when he runs onto the field, he has a mouthpiece in his mouth, all right? You know how hard it is to talk with a mouthpiece in your mouth and have players understand, have officials understand what you're saying? It's incredibly difficult to enunciate with a mouthpiece in your mouth, let alone in a stadium down on the goal line on the biggest play of the game coming up on a 2-point conversion to win the game, okay? So you see Dan Skipper take it out of his mouth, all right? You then have to realize before every game, the coaches go and they break down certain scenarios with the officiating crew. Dan Campbell literally spent time with this officiating crew telling them, in this situation, this is the play that we're going to be doing. Now, I have seen where Rex Ryan, who is a former NFL head coach, said, you have to go in on a grease board and draw up everything you're going to do. Break down the play. You have to show it to the officials, okay? So he already explained to them what they were going to do. Okay. And then thirdly, at the time of the play. So Taylor Decker had reported in. Jared Goff had told Taylor Decker to go and report in. Dan Skipper had a mouthpiece in his mouth when he supposedly went and reported as eligible. Okay. The officials then announced the wrong player on the field to the defense, that number 70 was eligible. But then when you watch the play in live time breakdown, everything about the play is legal, okay? Dan Skipper lines up in the right tackle position. He was covered by Penei Sewell and then also by the wide receiver on the far side, Amon-Ra St. Brown. And Sam Laporta was off the line of scrimmage, making him ineligible, okay? Which essentially shifted him to be the right guard because the way the formation broke down, both him and Penei Sewell were ineligible. Penei Sewell would be the last man on the line, making him the tackle, okay? He was covered by Amon-Ra St. Brown on the far side, and Sam Laporta was lined up off the line of scrimmage. So that scenario is locked down, although the officials had told the Dallas Cowboys that they needed to cover the ineligible man playing as the tackle, number 70, who'd never actually reported as eligible. But then with that shift of the formation where he goes from being the guard to the tackle, Taylor Decker then becomes the tight end, the eligible player on the far side, on the left-hand side, okay? He is then the eligible wide receiver, or the eligible tight end, because pre-snap, Khalif Raymond walks up to the line of scrimmage, takes a step back. There's two things that wide receivers have to do when they come up to the line of scrimmage to make the formation legal. They either have to cover or uncover the last man on the line of scrimmage, and they do it by one of two ways. They either are going to cover the man on the line, right? So they'll walk up to the official on that side, and you'll see them look forward. They'll look down at the ball. They'll take a step forward, and then they'll point like that to the official, and the official will tell them to move up or move back, based on their positioning, because they're telling the official, I'm covering the last man on the line of scrimmage. In this situation, Khalif Raymond needs to leave the tight end uncovered, okay, because he's an eligible man. Jonah Jackson is operating as the tackle based on the formation. Khalif Raymond walks up to the line of scrimmage, looks to the official, takes a step back so that he's no longer covering the tight end, Taylor Decker, and even indicates by pointing back, which is what wide receivers, and they need to point back like this. I don't know if I can get it in the shot. Right? They point back telling the official, I am off the line of scrimmage, and the official tell them to step back or step forward so that they're either on or off the line of scrimmage, indicating what they need to do. He does that, okay? Taylor Decker is then operating as a legal tight end because he reported to the official. The official then botched the call. Everybody can see it. God and everyone can see it. Happy New Year's, Detroit. And then Taylor Decker catches what should be the game-winning two-point conversion, and everybody in Dallas knows it. Everybody in the national media markets know it. We all seen it. Even ESPN couldn't contain themselves. Scott Van Pelt has done a great job defending us. So is Ryan Clark. We're absolutely robbed. And I was mad about it for days, guys. I went to bed Saturday night. I drank way too much in anger that night. I woke up Sunday morning 2 or 3 different times, and I for real woke up still mad about that call. I was mad all Sunday long. I'm still kind of furious about it, but I'm trying to move past it, guys, because there's nothing you can do about it anymore. There is Rule 17 that the NFL's commissioner, Roger Goodell, could enact, in which he could reverse the call, forfeit the game to the Dallas Cowboys, give the win to the Detroit Lions, but that has to happen in a 48-hour window. And by 8 o'clock tonight, that 48-hour window will have closed. Roger Goodell also thinks that there's nothing wrong with the NFL's officiating crew. He consistently rubs a poor product in the fans' face. He shovels piles of manure onto a plate and force feeds it down our throat while telling us how delicious it is and how grateful we should be for the top flight product that he provides. Yes, the players on the field are electric and dynamic and world-class athletes. Yes, the evolution of the game over the past few years has been phenomenal. We do need to incorporate more defense, but we do need better officiating, okay, you guys, because as I stated earlier, we never should have been in the situation when Dak Prescott threw a 92-yard touchdown pass to CeeDee Lamb. Jack Campbell was held on 2 separate occasions, one being when Dak Prescott was about to roll right into him, and it allowed him to extend the play. I mean, the man's shoulder pads are getting pulled off. That can't happen. You have to throw the flag in that situation. I mean, The play was right in front of you. That's just bad officiating. That's just terrible officiating. This whole game was terrible officiating. Brad Allen's team has been one of the worst crews all season long. Obviously, they need to be completely reassembled. Brad Allen needs to go. But, and, you know, this is just me thinking out loud, but what'll probably end up happening is that Brad Allen, because we don't live in a meritocracy anymore, you guys, and you can look at any of your employers, right? If you notice, you ever wonder why everyone at the top are idiots? It's because in today's society, we allow morons to fail upwards. So expect Brad Allen to probably be promoted to the head of officiating, and we'll be forced to eat just plates and plates and plates of his manure and terrible calls. Because it's Detroit versus everybody. So I do appreciate you guys sticking around if you're still into it. We're going to get a little into the weeds now, you guys, because I do need to talk about a couple situations and the reality of what happened here. You got to follow the money, okay? So this game had a lot of things going on. CeeDee Lamb poised to break Michael Irvin's single-season reception and yardage record in the same game that has been held since the mid-'80s, I believe. I don't know, I'm not a Cowboys fan. But it's been held for a long, long time, and he was poised to break it. He, of course, did break it, because CeeDee Lamb went absolutely bonkers on us, including a terrible 92-yard touchdown play that never should have happened. The Cowboys also inducted Jimmy Johnson into the Ring of Honor, and this is where it gets goofy, because this is a situation in a nationally televised primetime game where the halftime show was taken up celebrating one man. Now, really, you could say it was a celebration of the triplets and their head coach closing the Ring of Honor, bringing all of them in finally, as they rightfully should be. But that's a team-specific thing. That's something that needs to be celebrated as an organization. I don't think that everybody in America needs to be forced to watch this, okay? So my question is, how much money did Jerry spend on the halftime show? Because that's a lot of money to have to pay both ABC, so Disney, and the NFL to have the halftime show be just a celebration of your one team. So when you're writing that big of a check to the NFL to buy that entire window of time that they would happily sell Pfizer ads on, or McDonald's ads, or Bud Light ads, because they want you sick and fat and lazy, how much money did he have to spend? How much was the check? Because now we know, however much that check was for, that's the baseline. Now you've set a market value on corruption in the NFL. Whatever that check was worth is the bare minimum probably of what it's going to cost to buy the officiating crew. So either the officials are going to bankrupt the owners by continuously increasing their market demands on the check value that needs to be written by the owners groups to corrupt the outcome of the game by buying time for the NFL, or there needs to be an investigation into this somehow, because this is a blatant display of corruption in an organization, and it's being covered up by Roger Goodell, who is refusing to do anything about it. If this is to go anywhere, the owners need to hold Roger Goodell accountable. He's technically like the CEO of the NFL, and this is providing a bad product for the owners who pay his salary. They're all essentially shareholders in the product of the NFL, and he is deliberately causing a bad product. Why does the NFL hate Detroit? Why does the national media hate Detroit? Why was Detroit at one point one of the richest cities in the world in the 1940s? Between 1940 and 1949, Detroit was like considered the Paris of the Midwest and was one of the wealthiest cities in the world. In 1949, it was actually the wealthiest city in America. Why do people hate it so much. What did Detroit do? Why is Detroit like the experimenting grounds for corruption in both sport and politics? I hate to go there, but you know what I'm saying? Why was it that the city went bankrupt in 2013? Why was it that the city was rich in the 1940s and then bankrupt by 2013? Why is it that things are so bad? Do you know how much money? So if the Lions win this game, and if you're still here, I appreciate it, but if the Lions win this game, they poise themselves to have not only a first round home game, which they do because we won the division, but you then would have the division round of the playoffs, the second round, as a home game. You know how much money that would have brought into the city? Do you know how much money that would have brought into the city of Detroit to have 2 potential playoff games in Detroit? Do you know how much money that the NFL just forced us to miss out on? Like, I'm not even from Detroit. I just live in Michigan, and I'm furious about it. And you should be too, man. Like, y'all should be furious. All the local businesses that are going to miss out on the revenue, all of the like advertisement, the fact that you would have nationally televised broadcast games again in Detroit, playoff games, the money, the taxable revenue that the city of Detroit is missing out on. And I don't even like taxes. I mean, taxation is theft. But like, oh, it's insulting. It's insulting to just see just the blatancy of it and just have it rubbed in your face. And like, I guess the only good thing about it is that like, because we've been such a darling this year in the NFL and the national media eyes, and people are finally starting to pay attention. They're now really starting to pay attention, and they see what guys like me have been screaming about for years. It's clearly obvious that the NFL and the powers that be, whomever it might be, I should probably put my tinfoil hat on, but why is it that the powers that be have such a blatant hatred for the hard-working people of Detroit? You should be furious over it. That's all I got to say about that, you guys. There are a lot of things that could have gone differently. If Jared Goff could throw an out route, if we would have kicked a field goal in the second quarter, blah, 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 CeeDee Lamb's. Anyway, I've gotten far too furious about it. I'm all worked up again. This video's probably not going to go over so well. I don't care. I've been Hat and Beard. You've been an attentive audience. Keep your stick on the ice. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Stay out of trouble. We'll see you guys in the next one, previewing the Week 18 matchup at home against the Minnesota Vikings. And Lord help whoever they throw out at quarterback, because we're going to be coming in so pissed. Oh, Lord help him. Lord help him. Lord help him. We'll see you guys later. Frig off.